Johnny, nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you too.
I'd like to know one thing, and what does music mean to you?
Music actually is everything on earth for me. It was the wonderful place to run away during the war in my country. So I always find it an amazing place or amazing secure place to go to run away from the sounds of bomb and drugs and these things. That's why since that time, childhood time, it took a big place in my heart.
You say that the music let you escape from the war and the sound of the bombs and all these things, but I guess they still had a certain influence on what you were playing, right?
Of course. That's why many of my compositions have some different stories and titles. And every time I compose about an event that already happened with me or something I'm dreaming about. I cannot compose just for composing as an exercise. So yes, during the war, like this sad and melancholic time those days, how I was afraid when I was a child, how we were waiting to die between a day and the other. It was very difficult moment. So, but I am very thankful because it didn't continue and I could go from there. And it gave also my music, let's say, more value because now I have been teaching also piano for 10 years in the conservatory. And I see like in our days when it was really difficult and to play music and to study, how much it was valuable wherever we can get the instrument and play. Now when everyone have everything, it's peace and everything, so they don't appreciate the value of what they have.
They put as much meaning into what they play nowadays, maybe. That's what I feel like. It's like often the songs that I hear played on the radio, maybe, it's just for me, it's like, okay, this song was just written for the purpose of being written, you know?
Yeah,
it's not like connected to an event or a dream or a vision, something like that. And
yeah, exactly. Everything, if it has a story or certain dream or certain like a special feeling, it always the result can be completely different. That's why like the Battle of Siddim, it's a story in the Bible, and it happened during the Old Testament. It's in Genesis, and it happened like near the Dead Sea Valley, the Valley of Siddim. It's now the Dead Sea Valley between Jordan and Israel. So I was there in Jordan on the Dead Sea like a few years ago, and I wanted really to feel what really happened. So I went there for 2 days, 3 days. I was smelling the air, reading, and I wanted to live this, that my music will be really very honest, you know, very real, and that's how it went. Everything should be really lived, should be felt, should be really, I don't know how to say it, but
it should have a purpose.
Yeah, should have a purpose, not just for the sake of composition.
How do you get your pieces to orchestras for them to play? Do you send requests?
It sometimes it depends. Like the Lebanese Philharmonic Orchestra, I became like an official composer in Lebanon. So every 1 or 2 years they play one of my composition. I always give my composition. They have the repertoire, my repertoire there in the orchestra, and many times guest conductors are invited to the orchestra. And how it goes, like the guest conductor came from Italy once, another one from Poland. He loved the piece, he heard it, he asked if he can play it outside, and it went this way.
Oh.
It started from Lebanon, it went this way.
And then it went all around the world.
Yeah, and once in 2009, I won like a first prize in composition in Cergy-Pontoise, France, near Paris. And also when I won this composition, my music was played in France. And also I got many contacts there. And you know, it goes like a snowball.
I remember. It's a good feeling, right?
Yeah, it's amazing because I was dreaming, and when I was a child, I was always thinking that, okay, someday I will be a good pianist, but never a composer. It was something very difficult, but now I can say I am a composer better than pianist. Of course, I play, I give concert, but my priority is for composition.
You say that you like a lot composing as well as improvising. How do they go together?
Actually, I believe that someone cannot be a composer if he cannot improvise. It's not an exercise. It's not. You cannot just learn composition if you don't have like this talent. If you are not creative, if you cannot make your own music, and that's how it comes. You should improvise to be a composer, and then when someone learns the orchestration, instrumentation, composition, the rules, it will help him exactly to write it in a correct way. So I don't believe someone who's composer and he doesn't know how to improvise. So it's one thing.
It's the same thing actually.
Yeah.
Just like composing is slower improvisation.
Yeah, and once I made a seminar in Lebanon about the difference between a classical pianist and someone who improvises on piano. Why many pianists who studied like 10, 15 years, if you ask them to improvise, they cannot do it. If you give them like a big concerto, they can play it directly, but if they sit on the piano and you ask them, can you improvise something on, if you give them a little theme, so it's completely different, someone should see even the piano in a different way. They play wonderful, but the notes and it's like a mechanical way. But when you improvise, you have a special relation with the piano, with the key, with everything, how it looks, how it feels, how it sounds. It's not just a computer.
For classical musicians, I think it's like two very different kinds of a job to do, like the composing and the performing part of it. They look at like the composers as the magicians behind, and the musicians as the people that just do what they're given.
Yeah, exactly. I gave already many examples about Rachmaninoff. He was amazing composer. He's classical, neo-romantic, but I mean like classical in general, classical composition. Like he composed for piano and orchestra, concertos, different pieces for orchestra. At the same time, he was improvising. And I remember once I was hearing the third piano concerto for Rachmaninoff, recorded maybe somewhere in Russia. And he was even improvising during this concerto. This is amazing when the pianist is really understanding what he is doing, just not enjoying the music as playing, also like understanding how he is moving, everything.
Yeah, because he can go exactly where he wants to go at this very moment if he does the improvising.
And it built a special relationship between you and the instrument. That's what I believe. I started as improvisation before studying music, because during those days when I was a child, we had the war and it was impossible to learn music. So we had the piano, and I used to improvise, to put like some pencils on the piano to remember where I put this chord and that chord. It started this way, and then I learned.
How did you get access to music when you were a small boy?
Actually, my parents were musicians, not professional musicians, but I was raised and always hearing my mom playing the piano and my father the violin. So I used to go when I was little at night to steal the place on the piano, try to just put my hands and to try the piano. It started this way, but it influenced me a lot because of my parents. I used to hear them always playing the music and singing also.
Mm. Do you sing?
Not really. I don't have a nice voice for singing.
Mm-hmm. What was the very first song or the very first piece of music that you wrote?
The name is like Paroles des Instruments, like the word of the music, the word of the instrument. I was very little when I composed it, maybe 12 years old. Simple thing, but it was one of my first compositions.
If you still remember the song after this part of the interview, maybe you could play it on the piano.
Maybe yes, some of
That'd be really cool.
the theme I remember.
Cool. Up to now, what was it in your life that made you feel really proud? Something that you achieved or something that you did?
Actually, in music, if I want to say, my composition for orchestra, the Battle of Sidim, is one of the most successful and beautiful composition. It's a symphonic poem for orchestra, and it has been played in 1 year in 3 places until now, and even less than a year in 3 different orchestra, and it will be played soon after a few days in Poland, and then again in another orchestra in November. So it's kind of turning the world.
You say that you prefer to compose neo-romantic music.
This is the style I am composing. It's like neo-romantic with some modern sounds, and but not really like the contemporary music. I don't really like it, but I studied, and when I won like the first prize, it was contemporary music in France. But I always feel that for everyone, we should always keep some beauty. That's what the people will remember. If they could be like astonished from some techniques and everything, but the only thing that can stay with them is like this, that beautiful theme, this beautiful music. That's why now everyone just remember like Chopin and the beautiful themes from Beethoven. If you ask about contemporary composers, or they are amazing, but no one knows. That's it's very important for me to always keep a memory for everyone who is hearing me. It's not just to impress them in some technique, but they should love my music. And one of my compositions is The First Watch. Also, it's on YouTube, and the Battle of Sidim is also there. So they can feel there's always a theme, there's always some beautiful places. Okay, it's in a modern coverage, but it's neoclassical, it's not really contemporary. And I love this. I find myself in this style.
You've been traveling a lot in the latest years. And what is it what different countries do you remember well? And do you think, wow, that was something that fascinated me?
Yeah, actually, in Europe, I have memories in different countries. I love Switzerland, I love London, and I am also like member of Mingle Music United Kingdom. Korea, I have been there, South Korea. I gave concert also there. It's completely very far from us as culture and this, but I really found it interesting. Jordan, I have memories in Jordan when I was a teenager. I had a wonderful story there.
You can tell.
Yeah. It was like kind of my first love story, and it was on a mountain, and the name is Assault in Jordan, and you can see there, like you can see Palestine, Israel, and Jordan. It's an amazing place, historical place, and first love and this thing. So it was in a camp for a week. Then I used to come for 2 years later, the same time, to spend like 2-3 nights alone, just to take the impression again. And then I composed my first piano concerto. And this piano concerto was like the through this piano concerto I got my first baccalaureate in composition. In 2003, I came for the first time to Zurich, you know, and it was very beautiful city for me. For the first time, I saw the city. And when I went back to Lebanon, I composed a clarinet concerto, and the name was A Cloudy Day in Zurich. And it was really very successful. After 6 years, I came another time to just to walk in the city and to feel how it, after 6 years, it was really, I like these things, to get the first impression and then to come after a time to feel it again, or to see how does it change or still the same.
What is it that you go and feel? Is it like the air, or is it the people, or is it the vibe? How do you know, what do you pay attention to?
The air, the smell of the air, the people, like the whole image. Sometimes maybe something, little thing happen and it attracts you. I remember like one was musician was playing the accordion, and I liked how the way he played. I remember a little bit some theme. So this impression, I also put it in my concerto. It depends. Sometimes it's about just you see maybe some beautiful people, some beautiful building. It's a gesture, you know. It's not. I cannot define like just this and this and this. It's just what you can feel.
I read an interview where you talked about it's important having a vision. Do you still have a vision?
Yes, in general vision, or like for the music, or
for yourself and the future, or maybe you and the music and the future.
Yeah, actually, about myself, I am very thankful for God for what I am now, and because I am living some dreams by attending my music in some orchestra concert. You know, I go there and I am, and then people are really like surprised. Like the program is Gershwin and Bertin and Johnny Hachem, and then they see Johnny Hachem at the end. It's a dream for me. For vision, actually, I have a vision for my countries, for the Arab world, and especially like for the Christians there, who are really in a kind of bad situation now. It's going because of everything happening in the Middle East.
You can tell more specific if you want to. Like you're helping certain people, right?
Yeah. Through my music, I am making many concerts all over, let's say, all over Europe and sometimes in different countries, to support some ministries, Christian ministries, and also to help some refugees. The situation is not very good there with everything that's happening. So I'm using the most of my music to support this. Sometimes I cannot support it financially, but I can support like most of my music now have some Christian or biblical titles. That's why I want to keep this Christianity there in that land, in that area in the Middle East, because now if you watch, it's going like it's decreasing. So I hope one day we will not be like pushed to go out from where we used to live. After everything, after like, I know it's like a international politics now. It's bigger than us, but how much I can help in this, supporting like the Christianity in this area. This also I have this vision. So I play music, and many times also I preach. I give messages about about the Lord, about Christ. That's what I am doing.
We're pretty much through, I guess. Is there something that really is important for you to say, like a message you want to give to other people watching this?
Yeah, I can say I encourage them not to stop dreaming, because if I go back to my situation, how I was and how I became, so it's kind of miracle for me. Like God made miracle with me from a child who was waiting death and was impossible to go out from the building. And now I am turning the world and making concerts and the music. So never stop dreaming and always tie this dream with a vision, whatever you do with a purpose, and that will leave a trace, that will leave something valuable for other people who will come, that they will remember you, you know. That's what I want to say.
Thank you. These are very beautiful last words. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you
this
so
interview.
much.
It's really good.